Hey guys, today I will be taking a look at the 2020 electoral map if Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter in the entire country. So this would definitely be a huge benefit for President Trump. This was something that he was almost able to do in 2016 when in key states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, Donald Trump was able to win almost all of the undecided voters, and this allowed him to win these three states for the first time in over 2 decades, 24 years in Michigan and Pennsylvania, and 28 in Wisconsin, and this really did help President Trump win the presidency. Now this time around, he's probably not expected to do this, and this really just shows how horrible of a position Donald Trump is in coming into this election, just a little bit over 2 weeks to go until election night. And then for President Trump, basically what I mean is that, as you can see, President Trump polling on the national level, he's polling at 41.8%, Joe Biden 52.3%. So what this means is that if every single undecided voter votes for Donald Trump, we have that roughly 6 to 7% of voters who are not casting a ballot as of right now for Joe Biden or Donald Trump according to these polls. So that would give Donald Trump at 47.7% of the popular vote. Joe Biden would stay, of course, at 52.3%. He would still win the popular vote by a margin of 4.6%. So even if Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter, which I can tell you right now, he is not going to. I do expect Joe Biden to actually win more of the undecided voters. So Joe Biden would win by a margin of 4.6%, which is still, even that margin is double the margin that Hillary Clinton had over the current president in 2016. So I'm just going to be filling in this map today if Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter in every single state, and take a look at how each state will change in terms of the margin for Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So before we get into that, make sure to join my Discord server if you have not. The link is at the very top of the description below. So moving on, I'm going to first start off by filling in all of these solid states for the former vice president, and there are a lot less because, of course, all the undecided voters would vote for Donald Trump. So for Joe Biden, we have Washington, we have California, as well as the state of Hawaii, the states of New York, Vermont, Massachusetts. Most of these safe, solid, and, very solidly blue northeastern states for the Democratic Party are still going to be solid for Joe Biden, even in this scenario, as well as his home state of Delaware, the state of Maryland, and then lastly, the state, or not state, but the District of Columbia. This gives Joe Biden 141 electoral votes. For President Trump, he would have a little bit more just because some of these likely states are going to turn into solid states for the current president. Now, keep in mind, every single solid state on this map was solid for President Trump in 2016. So some states like Utah or Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee, these states were solid for Donald Trump in 2016, and now they are only solid states if President Trump wins every single undecided voter in those states. Otherwise, they would be likely or Lien States. So the state of Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, all solid for President Trump. Only the 3rd District of Nebraska would be solid. Very surprising. He won the 1st and at-large vote as well as the 3rd District by solid margins in 2016. But now, if President Trump wins every single undecided voter in the entire state of Nebraska, and then, counting the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd districts, he would only win the 3rd district by a solid margin. He would also win Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, all of these deep South states, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and then finally the state of Indiana, giving Donald Trump 91 electoral votes to Joe Biden with 141, which means that if Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter in the entire country, he would still have 50 less electoral votes from his safe states than Joe Biden. So Donald Trump still is coming into this election scenario at a disadvantage. So next, I'm going to fill in the likely states for the current president. First, we have the state of Montana, as well as Alaska. That will be another likely state. Montana is a likely state anyways, but Montana would become a lot safer of a likely state. Alaska would go from being a Lien state to a likely state. Kansas and Missouri, same thing. These would be Lien states, but now are likely states. And then South Carolina, same story. South Carolina would now become a likely state, a state that the GOP is really underperforming in. I think Lindsey Graham should be very worried about his re-election right now. For Joe Biden, he has quite a few likely states. I mean, it's just most of his typically solid states. So we have the state of Oregon, which is barely a likely state. New Mexico as well would basically becoming 7% margin. Illinois also a likely state at this point, and then the state of Virginia another likely state. And so this electoral map is in no means my personal prediction. I just want to make that very clear. This is just the electoral map based on the polls if President Trump were to win every single undecided voter, which I think will be pretty revealing about the state of the election. So the first district of Maine, as well as the at-large vote in the state of Maine, would also be likely for Joe Biden. And then I forgot to categorize the state of Nebraska for President Trump. He would win the second district as well as the first district by likely margins. Now, the Lien States, there are a little bit for Joe Biden, not really any for Donald Trump at this point in time. The state of Colorado would be a Lien state, as well as the state of, or not the state, the second district of Nebraska. President Trump would win the second district of Maine by a Lien margin, so still not likely for the current president. And then Joe Biden would cross 200 electoral votes with the state of New Hampshire. And then I actually missed this early, but New Jersey would be a likely state, not a Lien state. It would be a likely state, the state of New Jersey, putting Joe Biden up at 217 electoral votes to Donald Trump with 126. And now we have the battleground states on this map. So first, taking a look at the state of Arizona, Joe Biden polling at 49%, which means that Donald Trump would win this state by a margin of 2% if he won every single undecided voter. So that's going to be a tilt Trump state. Next, the state of Texas. Currently, the polling is not so great for President Trump, but if he won every single undecided voter, he would win by a margin of 5.8%. So that would be a Lien state for the current president, Texas. Even if he wins every single undecided voter in the state of Texas, he would still not be able to beat his 2016 margin. And so this would still be one of the worst margins for a Republican in the state of Texas in the last 4 decades. The state of Minnesota, 10 electoral votes, a state that has not voted for the GOP in over 4 decades as well. The state of Minnesota, Biden plus 8.9 right now at 50%, which means that Joe Biden would win this state by a margin of 1.2%. He would win it with a tilt margin, so Minnesota would become a tilt margin. And what's surprising is that Hillary Clinton only won this state by 1.5%. So in this scenario, Joe Biden would only be underperforming her margin by just 0.3%. Next, we will be taking a look at the state of Ohio, where President Trump would win by a margin of 6.2% actually if he were to win every single undecided voter. Joe Biden down at 46.9% right now. Joe Biden has just recently, I believe 2 days ago, lost the lead here in the state of Ohio. So President Trump now leads in this state, and he would, of course, win this state by a margin of 6.2%, making it a Lien state in favor of the current president. Lien. And then next, the state of Iowa, Trump would win by 4.6%. As you can see, Joe Biden not at 50% here, Donald Trump 47.5%. That would give Donald Trump a 4.6% victory here in the state of Iowa, a state that he carried by almost 10% in 2016. Now just a Lien state, even in this, very beneficial scenario for Donald Trump. I'm really just giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt in every single state. And of course, this is not going to happen. Donald Trump is not going to win every single undecided voter in the electorate. So next, I want to take a look at the state of Florida. Trump would win this state by exactly 2%. As you can see, Joe Biden at 49%. Trump would move up to 51%, winning this state by a margin of just 2%. So that would be, again, another tilt state for the current president. And then next, we have the state of Michigan. Biden would actually win this state still. He would win this state by a margin of 1.2%. Of course, he's at 50.6% right now, so that would be a margin of 1.2, and this would still be a larger margin than Trump won it in 2016 by, when he won it by just 0.2%. So this would be a strong flip for the former vice president, even in this scenario. The state of Wisconsin, Biden would win by 1.6%, so the Rust Belt is becoming blue again, but very narrowly blue in this scenario. State of Wisconsin, Biden polling at 50.8%, which would make it a 1.6% margin if President Trump was able to win every single undecided voter and win 49.2% of the vote in the state of Wisconsin. So the state of Wisconsin, that would be another tilt state for Joe Biden. The state of North Carolina, Trump would win this state by a margin of 2%. As you can see, 3.1% in favor of Joe Biden right now, and he's at 49.4%. So this state would still be very, very close. The state of North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure I did my math wrong here. Donald Trump would win by 1.2%. I don't know why I wrote 2%, so I apologize for that. This would be a tilt state for Donald Trump, but by just 1.2%, not 2%. As I said earlier, the state of Georgia is next. Trump would win this state by 4.2%. Biden up 1.3 right now at 47.9%. So Joe Biden would not win a majority majority here, Donald Trump would be able to win all of those undecided voters. And the state of Georgia, Democrats do tend to cap at around 48% no matter how well they do. But this time around, I think it will be a little bit different. We'll see what happens here in the state of Georgia. So Trump plus 4.2%. That would be actually a lean state. So Iowa, Ohio, Georgia, and Texas are now lean states for the current president. These are all margins smaller than what they were for Donald Trump in 2016. So that, you just see that Donald Trump is doing much, much worse than he was 4 years ago. However, the only state that Trump would actually flip from 2016, the state of Nevada. This would go to Donald Trump by 1%. As you can see here, Biden not at 50%, so Trump would win 51.5%. And of course, he would win this state, or not 51.5%, I believe 50.5%. So he would win this state by a margin of just 1%. So the state of Nevada, that would be a tilt state, of course, for the current president. That gives him 6 electoral votes. And the only scenario ever that I've ever talked about where President Trump actually flips a state from 2016. So this is a first for the channel. And then lastly, the state of Pennsylvania. This state will put either Trump or Biden over 270 electoral votes. Joe Biden leads by 6.8%. He is at 50.8%, which means yes, Joe Biden would win the state of Pennsylvania, his birth state, a state that Trump carried by 0.3% in 2016, still by a margin of 1.6%. That would be the final state and the final tilt state for the former vice president. So even in this scenario where Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter, so that's really a huge stretch for Donald Trump. There is absolutely 0% chance of this actually occurring. Joe Biden would, win some undecided voters no matter what. And right now, I do think that Joe Biden will actually win more undecided voters than President Trump, because throughout the last 4 years, President Trump has not given out, a unifying message at all. And we'll see if President Trump, is going to become more presidential in the last couple of weeks, because that's what he did in 2016. In the last few weeks leading up to the election, President Trump became much more professional, especially in the final debate. So we'll see if he does that again in the third presidential debate with Joe Biden. But in my opinion, if Donald Trump does not have a great performance in that debate, his campaign is not going to go anywhere. He is not going to win this election without a great debate performance. And even if he has one, I really don't think that's going to sway too many voters. But that is just a must right now for President Trump. As you can see, he is in a lot of trouble. If Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter, he would still only win 265 electoral votes. He would barely win states like Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Florida. That's just how strong of a lead Joe Biden has in all of these states. And I mean, Joe Biden is polling very close to 50%. I mean, 47% in Iowa. I mean, 49% in Florida. This is much better than Hillary Clinton's numbers. She never reached 47, 48%. She maxed out in some states at just 44, 46%. So Joe Biden, of course, is doing much better. I mean, Trump doing about the same. I'm going to be honest, 42%. Biden 50% in Michigan, 50% in Wisconsin, 50% in Pennsylvania, and then 50% in Minnesota. These 4 states are the states that gave Joe Biden the victory on this electoral map. Being at 50% means, of course, if Trump wins all the undecided votes, he would still lose all of these states. So these states would be Biden states on this map, even if he wins none of the undecided voters as of right now. And taking a look at the national numbers, I mean, Joe Biden's lead has decreased a little bit. I mean, it's basically stayed the same throughout the last couple of days, and his numbers are stopping to peak. They're starting to increase by as much, but still a very strong lead. I mean, 10.5%. That is larger than any lead Hillary Clinton ever had in 2016, larger than any lead Barack Obama ever had in 2012, and even larger than any lead that Barack Obama had in 2008 over John McCain when he won by 7% nationwide on the national scale, and he never had a 10% lead. So Joe Biden, 10.5%. He might even outperform Barack Obama in terms of the popular vote, and of course, these are better than the margin that Bush ever saw in 2000 and 2004. So Joe Biden is performing historically well in terms of the national polling as well as state polling, plus 4%, 3.9% in Florida. That is pretty good to be leading by such a large margin in a state that is always so close in every single election. I mean, in 2000, this state was decided by 537 votes, and this state has never been a likely state for either party in the last couple of decades. So the state of Florida, 3.9%, that is a very strong margin for Joe Biden in the national numbers. I mean, taking a look at these national polls, it's just depressing for President Trump. There's not a single poll where you can find, recently, of them actually being tied or, Trump leading in any poll. So, Biden up 14 points in some polls. I believe he's up 17 points, 16 points in some A+ rated pollsters that came out a few days ago. So look at all this blue, in favor of Joe Biden. And I don't know why they put these SurveyMonkey polls in here. Honestly, they are just a waste of space. I mean, why are there so many of these polls? I mean, you can take a look at all of that. And then, Biden doing historically well in every single poll, every single state. So yeah, Donald Trump is really in trouble right now, in my opinion. I think that he has a lot of work to do, and he really needs to spend more time in some key states. He has to make sure that he's going to win Texas, Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia. He has to spend a lot of time in money North Carolina, Florida. These are must-win states. He also has to win Arizona. Nevada, not really. He does not need Nevada, but he definitely does need Arizona, and he has to win one of these 3 Rust Belt states once again, which, at this point in time is not looking too favorable for President Trump. And so, yeah, that will be it for this video. 273 for Joe Biden, 2 Donald with 265 if Donald Trump wins every single undecided voter in the entire country. Make sure you join my Discord server if you have not. The link is at the very top of the description below. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, along with suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future. And I will see all of you guys in the next video.